Hey guys, Josh here. This is going to be a vlog about my start in esports and why I personally got invested in it. Um, so the whole reason or the beginning of my esports kind of journey, I guess, it started when I got really busy in school. Like I was going to Cal State Fullerton at the time. I was a child and adolescent development major. And also at the time, I was working like 30 plus hours a week for Irvine Unified in addition to interning like several hours a week. So I had an insanely busy schedule, and I had a few hours per night when I was free. So instead of like, I'm a pretty introverted guy, so the last thing I wanted to do when I got home was to go out and socialize. So I kind of picked up gaming as a result of that. I got really invested into the Call of Duty scene and started playing competitively, got my feet wet into esports there. And that was like kind of my beginning. Fast forward like a few months, a few years, I started picking up like League of Legends, started getting into freelance casting, and before you know it, I'm working for Machinima on their esports show inside esports. So that's like the super condensed version of how I got there, but the motivation of I guess why I stuck with it and what really drives me in this world is it started off because I was looking for something to kill a few hours at night, something to unwind to, but it slowly became much more than that. All throughout my life, I've suffered from major depression, and I've had lots of instances in my life where I would have daily suicidal thoughts, just how I would do it, who I would tell, notes, all that stuff. I've had a lot of very dark times in my life, and it's something that I struggled with and I continue to struggle with today. Um, and for those of you who aren't as familiar with depression, you kind of go through these troughs that last like anywhere from a few months to a few years, and when you get really, really low, it's like there's no sunshine in the world. The mere thought of being happy just doesn't even make sense to you. And that's something I struggled with ever since I was really, really young that I only recently like got help for, like professional help for and stuff. So like towards the latter end of my collegiate, I guess, career, still working for Irvine Unified, still going to Cal State Fullerton, I like hit some of my lowest of lows. I just couldn't motivate myself to do anything. I was pretty unhappy with the way school was going, the way my professional career was going. It's not like I hated my job, but there were definitely times when working in public education definitely kind of turned me off or just made me lose faith in the idea that children in California could receive a fair education or that the system was little more than just a bureaucratic nightmare or and in addition to the fact that I just hated school, like academics and I just did not mix. I did not have fun going to class. The few times that I did go, I just couldn't apply myself. I had no motivation there, and on top of that, just being in a really depressed episode, it just compounded even further. And I got really low. I was on antidepressants, just barely getting by, and then I found an outlet in casting. It's something that I never really thought I would get into, but I started casting as like a way to learn the game faster, especially because I felt like I had a lot of ground to make up for, considering that in League of Legends at least, I started playing at the end of Season 4 compared to all my friends who had been playing since beta, Season 1, Season 2. So I started casting as just a way to learn quicker, force myself to learn, but quickly there was some sort of fire that was ignited in me that really made me I felt like I was worth something for the first time in a long time. And that to me was such an unknown feeling. It wasn't really happiness. It was something more than that. It was a sense of reinvigoration, this sense that life is worth living. And this is during a time when everything was dark and gray. I spent countless days and weekends or weeks just literally laying in bed, just almost like my entire body was broken. I couldn't move just because I was so depressed at the time. It was just a dark time. But finally, I had this thing that showed me that this fire in me still burns. It was like a weak flicker, but that's all I needed. Because seeing this energy of this community in esports, people who dedicate their lives to becoming the best at something, and fans who appreciate that, who love going to these events, who get hyped out of their fucking minds to support their favorite teams, their games, their players. That kind of energy and passion is something that, for the first time, made me feel like, all right, I would hate to miss out on a world like this. So that's where esports started getting my full attention. It gave me the courage and the ability to wean myself off of antidepressants, which is something that I don't recommend anybody do without consulting their doctor or their psychologist first, which I didn't do. I just went ahead and slowly weaned myself off and told myself, you know what? I don't need pills to be happy or to feel like life is worth living. Not that pills are like a bad thing. They did help me out a lot because honestly, at the end of the day, a lot of mental illness is just a brain chemistry thing. It's not necessarily something that you can fight just through guts or gumption, but it's that journey and that fight, as stupid as or as ill-advised as it may have been, that put me on the path that I am now on. And I don't know where this is going to go. I love what I do right now, the ability to tell and create stories, to connect the esports community as a whole, and to educate those who wish to learn more about it. Because this is a community that showed me that through hard work, the silliest or perceived the silliest to be like, everybody looks at esports and gaming as like a silly thing for people to do. No matter how people perceive things to be, or say it's silly or it's not worth your time, if you have a passion for it and you're willing to fight to the very end to support what you believe in, then that creates an incredibly cool world that I absolutely owe my life to. I mean, it's never about the money or the recognition or anything, because God knows I don't have any of that to begin with. It's just the being in a spot where I can hopefully support this community and help make it stronger by showing the world what the world of esports is and who cares about it, why they care about it. It's really special to me because I feel like such a newcomer to this world. So many of these people who work in this industry or who are just fans have been fans since like so long ago, 10, 20 years. And I'm somebody who rolled in like a year and 2 years ago as like a casual fan. And all of a sudden now I'm working to make my mark in it. But I feel like at times I'm kind of an intruder or like a carpetbagger who came in to grab the money. And it's something that I'm really worried that people will perceive me as. And if they do, that's fine. But then again, I guess it's kind of egotistic to be worried about something like that, but I think it goes to speak on the amount of respect and admiration that I have towards the founders and the grinders of this community who made it what it is today to make it possible for me to pretty much play, watch, and talk about video games for a living. And that's something that gave me new life, showed me that life is worth living and that I can be worth something in this world. And esports gave me that. And that's what it means to me. It's not about, oh, I'm bad at sports or I don't like anything else or it's the only world that'll accept me. It's the incredibly welcoming nature of this community that showed me that, you know what? There's always going to be people out there that have your back. And right now, I just hope to God that I'm representing and supporting this community in the right way so that it can succeed and live through the long term. and blow up into a world that our children and our children's children can enjoy and feel like a welcome part of. Because in the world of gaming, almost anybody can just jump on and play. And it's something that I needed at the darkest time of my life. And I was so glad to have found it. And it scares me to think about what would have happened if I didn't get involved at the level or at the time that I did, because I was in such a dark place, and to even think about that kind of trips me out. So I try to push it to the back of my mind and move forward. But I know that there are people out there who have similar stories as me, who may only find escape through watching their favorite player streams or competitions, or grind for the dream of maybe one day becoming somebody who can make this scene better. And if the day comes when, I'm not the best person to be in the role that I'm in, then I will gladly step down, because this world gave me everything, and I want to do everything to be authentic to it and to help it grow, help it blossom. And it's going to evolve and change over time. That's inevitable, and that's fine. And if this world turns into something that I don't necessarily recognize down the line, then that is what it is. It'd be selfish for me to say this is an esports, blah, blah, blah. It's going to take a life of its own, and I'm really excited to see that. So it's kind of my beginning steps into esports and my motivation behind why I do what I do, and just ultimately the reason why esports means so much to me. Because honestly, it saved my life.